Hello and welcome to the short Vort on Parshas Vayera. This is the parsha that has the famous Akeida Yitzchak, the binding of Yitzchak to be brought as a sacrifice by his father. And I have a question. Why does it say in the parsha that Hashem tested Avraham Avinu? Why doesn't it say that he tested Yitzchak Avinu? After all, Yitzchak was willing to sacrifice himself, give up his life. Avraham was taking his life, but Yitzchak was willing to go even further and give up his own life. I'd like to share 5 reasons with you. And instead of building up, I'm going to start up with some of the ones I like the most, but of course they're all valid reasons. So the first one is based on the concept that someone who's Makadesh Hashem gives up their life in an instant. That's an incredible thing. Or some of the stories where someone was a Baal Tshuva in an instant on a great feat. Those are wonderful, and they're tremendous, but in a certain sense, it's even greater to live your whole life as a Jew, day to day, not just a moment of inspiration. Also, that's better than, being a kosher Jew is better than if someone gave up their life, even if they weren't religious, when they gave up their life because they were a Jew. Both are tremendous, but there's something special about someone who gives his whole life constantly. So here, Avraham Avinu, if he had killed Yitzchak, he would have to live with the repercussions. He would have to live with the fact that he misses his son, or that he feels guilty about taking his son's life, or second-guessing himself, even though, of course, it was the commandment of Hashem. Yitzchak, it would be a tremendous thing, but it would be one time and one and done. So that's why it was greater for Yaakov, for Avraham, because he would have had to live the whole time, not just for that moment of inspiration. Another answer, based on Midrash Rabbah, is that Yishmael and Yitzchak were having a conversation. Yishmael was very proud how at 13 he had a milah done. He had a circumcision. But Yitzchak responded saying, "You gave a few drops of blood. I'm 37 years old now, and if God wanted to slaughter me, and that's what his will, I would do it." And then God said, "I want him to be taken to be slaughtered, or at least bound up." So for him, it was not a challenge, because he said, "I'm willing to do this." There was no test anymore. For Avraham, it was a challenge. The Alshich says that what is the test? The test is going against your midah, and that's what all the 10 tests of Avraham were. And this was no exception. Avraham's midah, his character trait, was predominantly chesed, kindness. To take someone else's life, even by the will of Hashem, seems very cruel. So for him, it was a test to go against his very nature. Yitzchak, he was midas adin. He was more of a strict justice. He did what needed to be done. Therefore, it wasn't going against his will, his character traits, and therefore, it wasn't as great a test. Then the fourth one is based on Carusos Haran. So Avraham had a valid excuse. He could have come back to Hashem and said, "Look, you told me that Yitzchak was going to be my descendant, and Yitzchak Yikarei L'Chazara. He's going to be my seed, and if I kill him, it's not going to happen. You can't do this." And that would be a valid claim, that he'd have a way out, and he wouldn't even be punished for not being Mekayim this commandment. Yitzchak had no such out. He wasn't promised beforehand that he would be the future generation from Hashem. And finally, Gadol Mitzvah v'osa mimisha ena mitzvah v'osa. The Cauldron says that someone who is commanded to do something has a greater Yetzer Hara not to do it than someone who wasn't commanded. Therefore, since Avraham Avinu was the one commanded, the test was greater from him than from Yitzchak, who's willing to volunteer to do it. So I hope you'll volunteer, and I hope you'll share the Divrei Torah. Your feedback is welcome. devarman2@yahoo.com, or on the YouTube page, or via Facebook, as the Short Vort group. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful week and a wonderful Shabbos.